Welcome to WeLearn, Virtual Learning Network. This is session number 32 of Society and Religion, and the chapter is Fundamentalism, Communalism and Secularism. Topics to be covered are basic concepts, fundamentalism, communalism, secularism, aspects of fundamentalism, the communal divide, aspects of secularism. Fundamentalism is the first of our three concepts and it stresses the infallibility of a scripture, for example the Bible, the Granths, the Gita or the Quran, in all matters in faith of religion and doctrine. Communalism is associated with eruption of violence and riots. These conflagrations may not have any particular aim or goal. So fundamentalism stresses the infallibility of a scripture and faith in the religion and doctrine. Communism is associated with the violence and riots. Communalism has been described as a sectarian exploitation of social traditions as a medium of political mobilization. So sectarian exploitation of the traditions. This is done to punish the interests of the entrenched groups. Communalism is an ideology used to fulfill socio-eco-political hopes of a community or social groups. So it has vested interests. It requires proposals and programs to ensure its very existence. Communalism is a belief system and social phenomenon. Communalism arises out of a belief system and assumes great solidarity within a community, which is not always true. Communalism in India has a colonial legacy wherein the rulers, Britishers, used religious contrasts existing among the different communities to their advantage by giving them prominence. Secularism, the conceptual construct of secularism is adopted in India by way of a solution to the problems posed by fundamentalism and communalism. It denotes a situation where there is a clear distinction of religion from such spheres of life as political and economic systems. Each religion is to be respected and practiced in private. This is what secularism says, that every religion is equal. There is a clear distinction of religion from such spheres of life as political and economic, and each religion is to be respected and practiced in private. Secularism refers to the ideas opposed to religious education. It has been linked to the process of secularization. This is the process by which various sectors of society are removed from the domination of religious symbols and also the domination of religious institutions. Aspects of fundamentalism. In the early 20s, the print media used this word with reference to conservative Protestant groups in North America. These groups were concerned about liberal interpretations of the Bible. Alarmed by this, the conservatives insisted on some fundamentals of faith. T. N. Vadan has pointed out that the word fundamentalism has gained wide currency in the contemporary world. Aspects of fundamentalism. Fundamentalist movements are reactive and a response to what the persons involved, the leaders and participants, consider a crisis. The crisis calls for urgent remedies. The basic program is represented as a return to the original tradition. In Iran, Khomeini developed an Islamic state based on the guardianship of the jurists. The Arya Samajis were ardent nationalists in North India and the movement had its political overtones. The RSS, which has been described as a cultural organization, had close links with political parties and contemporary with the Sangh Parivar. Communalism in India. The ideology of communalism in India was and still is that the different communities in India cannot coexist to their mutual benefit, that the minorities will become victims of Hindu subjugation and that the historically created situation nor culture will allow cooperation. Partition was the culmination of the conflict which could and should have been avoided. So partition was the result of communalism in India which could have been avoided. Communalism arises when one or two characteristics of an ethnic identity, for example, religious beliefs, are taken and emotionally surcharged. Communal movements are often brief and exist in a dyad, comprising an opposing force or ideology which has to be countered. Communalism can only exist dyadically. The important point is that these are not isolated acts but often deliberate mechanizations of various social religious organizations. Recurrent collisions were engineered on festivals by stopping them in various religious occasions by interfering in the process. According to Ghosh, the acme of communal writing was reached in August 1946 in Calcutta when the Muslim League observed a direct action day. Bombay did the same in the following month. Independence was erected on the corpses of many thousands of people. With Mahatma Gandhi's assassination, the riots abated a while and the situation was basically sustained by Nehru. During the late 60s and 1970s, there was a large-scale communal rioting in Ahmedabad, Baroda, Ranohi, Jamshedpur, etc. Communal configurations in towns such as Ranchi cast a shadow over predictions and beliefs in the future of workers' unity. The grassroots movement among the handloom workers fostered by committed communists was unable to stem the onrush of communal violence. So there was also various movements in the late 60s and 70s. There were large-scale communal riots which happened in Ahmedabad, Baroda and various states. In 1969 itself, a communal riot occurred in Ahmedabad. The inflammatory factors were insults to holy scriptures and sacred cows. So in 1969 itself, there was a communal riot in Ahmedabad and the causes were insults to holy scriptures and sacred cows. It was suspected, however, that these riots were politically motivated. In the mid-70s, the communal riots abated a bit both due to the emergency and the Janta regime. The first exercised iron control and discipline, that the second aroused the hopes of both Hindus and Muslims. The first 6 years of the 80s once more created an upward incline in the riot graph. Patel in 1990 keels that communal violence is backed by religious arguments and backing. Religion does not preach enmity. So this is what Patel said, that religion is there for binding the people, not to preach enmity or revenge. In the context of our section of recent communal rights, we turn to some further reasons for the same. As Ghosh in 1981 points out, the several arguments have been forwarded for the existence and continuation of communal rights. Riots are part of progress in an underdeveloped country. The class struggle is converted into a communal struggle, weakening the solidarity of the proletariat class. Electoral politics determine the objectives and direction of communal violence, for example in Delhi in 1986. But when there is a class struggle between haves and have-nots, that class struggle is also converted into a communal struggle, weakening the unity of the proletariat or the working class. Economic and social dimensions. Regarding gaining economic benefits after the eruption of communal riots, we find that in Godhra, Hindu Sindhi refugees from Pakistan gave competition to Hindu merchants. In the Punjab tragedy, the terrorist acts while antagonizing the Hindus are not considered to be the acts of the Sikh community as a whole. Inter-community dynamics. Medium-sized towns or cities are being divided on communal lines. The educated middle-class professional act as a bridge between Hindus and Muslims. During preparation, there were Muslim doctors, lawyers, etc. who also attracted Hindu clients. Hindu professionals were patronized by Muslim clients. Post-partition mass migration saw these advantages vanishing. Many trade and economic activities are run by Hindus and there were no problems so long as the Muslims were not competitive. In recent time, economic competitiveness come from Muslims and has turned into a religious threat to Hindus. So in recent time, economic competitiveness has also come from the Muslims and it is a threat for the Hindus. Communalism needs to be denounced by political leaders and all leading citizens. Measures should be taken for raising the economic lot of the minority community. About all, several ethos should be created which leads to peace between communities and an end to communal violence. Community leaders should explain the situation to the community and diffuse tensions. Aspects of secularism. There is no single definition of secularism which could be applied worldwide, yet it was first applied to separate the church from the king. In the social sphere, secular meant separating the strange hold of religion over the individual's life. In the Indian context, it proclaims the existence of spiritual values which can be stressed in a variety of ways. Secular views and ideological campaign against communalism can be waged to decommunalize people at all levels. Grassroots politics is another approach mooted for the eradication of communalism along with the democratic rights approach. A major issue concerning fundamentalism, communalism and secularism is religion. So religion is the cause for fundamentalism, communalism and secularism. Secularism in India does not imply abolition of religion but the separation of state from religion. The people are free to form religion-based political parties. It is important to point out that at this stage that this description is not true of any society, as this separation happens to be analytical rather than actual. As things stand, there are some politics with an anti-religious stance. In the closing decades of the 19th century, the liberal plural theory was advanced by the moderate nationalists. This approach believed that that religion should not be mixed with politics. Its proper sphere was that of private belief only. So religion should be given its private and personal space and belief. Gandhiji's views: the nation to be, argued Gandhi, should draw from Hindu, Muslim and all other communities. The idea was to draw popular symbols into the political mainstream, creating a national identity. The ideology was successful in political mobilization, has certain problems so far as the post-independent 1947 era was concerned. Gandhi's idea that religious cleavages which could be handled by using religious loyalties and thus lead to nationhood proved wrong. The ideologies drew the rich and powerful into the national struggle and ensured that they dominated post-independent India. Another theory, the radical socialist, which gained some ground, and the dream of a secular polity which reflected the dream of the poor masses both in rural and urban areas. Gandhi's views: Gandhi's orthodox plural theory of secular nationalism was popular due to various reasons. The strong religious feeling among different classes and communities. Again, while desiring to uplift the downtrodden, it did not deprive the rich, industrial, commercial classes from the control over social and economic power. These are some of the questions. You have to do it yourself. Question number 1. Give 3 reasons for communal writing and what were Gandhi's views on secularism. That's all. Thank you. Happy learning. We learning.